My favorite hobby in the world, besides making people uncomfortable by asking them deep philosophical questions about their life, is dancing alone in my basement. One fun fact about me is whenever I'm at a party or an event and there's dancing involved, and I always make sure there is, from the first song that's played up until the last song that ends, for the entire time, you can see myself dancing the whole period without any breaks whatsoever. It's something I absolutely enjoy doing. And there is three key lessons that I learned from that experience that I still do, of course, that I believe apply to any presentation. And that is exactly what we'll be answering on this week's episode of Master Talk. Hi everyone, I hope you're having a fantastic week. Brendan from Master Talk here, your go-to channel to mastering your talk. And on this week's episode of Master Talk, we're going to be shaking things up a bit and talking a bit more in detail about my passion for dancing, even if I'm not super great at it, and why I believe a lot of those lessons apply into the presentations and the keynotes I give. So without further ado, let's get into the details. Number one, immerse yourself in the track. Whenever I'm at an event, whenever I'm at a party and there's music playing, I don't just listen to the music and move to it. I listen to every beat, every rhythm, every instrument that's playing, and I adjust based on what's happening on the track with my dance moves. So if I see a beat drop, then I go a bit more crazy. If I see more of a rhythm, then I move accordingly. Every little nuance, every little aspect of the music I pay attention to, as if the live artist or producer was in the room with us, even if it's just a recording of the song. And when I'm dancing, the mentality that I have is as if I'm alone in my basement, like always, right? So I'm never afraid to bust out that extra move and to just be myself, which is pretty out of the world, so to say. And I believe that that ability to listen into every beat of a song or a track and coordinate it with how my hips shake or how my body moves transitions extremely well into my insane obsession of my audience. I don't just master my audience, I don't just love my audience. I am diametrically obsessed with them. Whenever I give a keynote, whether it's a group of 16-year-olds, whether it's a group of senior executives in startups, whether it's students in university, it doesn't matter. I am so obsessed. The same way that I'm obsessed about every beat on a track when the music is playing, I'm equally obsessed with every yawn in an audience, with every non-facial and facial cues that they give off to me, their energy levels, how they're feeling that day, everything down to the T I study, right? From the moment before the presentation all the way up until the moment I give the presentation. So just as a caveat, whenever I enter a presentation room, I generally come in 1 or 2 hours in advance just to talk to my audience members and really understand how they're feeling or how they're about. If I notice that they're very energetic, let's say it's a Saturday afternoon and people have had the time to rest and get their day started, then I know when I present, my energy levels don't need to be maxed out completely, right? They just need to be in a way that balances out the energy levels of my audience. But if I'm giving a presentation at like 8 a.m. on a Saturday and everyone's just out, I need to crack more jokes. I need to increase the level, more specifically the energy levels that I have in my presentations, and communicate that back to my audience. Those are those little things that I learned from dancing that I believe apply into presentations. That obsessiveness with your audience. Now that we went over immerse yourself in the track, let's go into number two, which is light up the party. For some reason that I don't understand, I feel this moral responsibility and obligation to make sure that whenever I'm dancing, everyone else is also having a good time. And that's why I'm not afraid to do a lot of crazy stuff on the dance floor, because it gets people's attention, but it also gives them permission to be their true selves on the dance floor. So even if I spend 6 and 7 hours dancing straight and I can't feel my legs at the end of it, and I get back home and I'm sleeping, even if I can't feel my legs at all, I am always the happiest person ever. And the reason is because I enabled other people to have an amazing time. And I believe light up the party and having that moral responsibility towards my dance partners or people who are dancing on the floor with me applies very well into not only obsessiveness of your audience in public speaking, but also how you change your vocal tones. So let me give you a good example here. Let's say I'm at a formal black tie event. Everyone's a corporate executive. Everyone's very posh. Everyone's very put together. I won't go too crazy on the dance floor because I don't want to make them uncomfortable. So maybe the way that I interact with them is a bit more professional. Maybe I'll crack a bit more jokes and I'll dance a bit more, right? But if I'm more of an informal setting, then I'm not afraid to really go all out because I know if I do that, my audience, quote unquote, the other people at the event, will follow through, right? And that also applies with how I use my vocal tones to communicate back to my audience. So let's say, for example, I'm coaching two types of people. One is extremely extroverted and super energetic, super social, and the other one is really quiet and really shy. So what I do in this instance is what I call mirroring. So mirroring is when you mimic the energy of your audience back to them with like a little bit higher levels. So back to the example of an extrovert. If an extrovert is my audience or my coaching partner, then in that case, I'm going to be very loud. I'm going to be all over the place. I'm going to be a lot more in their face because that's what they want. And they'll think to themselves, man, Brendan can really relate to what I'm saying. He understands me. But the opposite is also true when I'm with someone shy, introverted, who doesn't believe they could be a good speaker. In that situation, I'm a bit more calm. The voice I use is a bit more, let's work together. We got this. Let's work on a couple of sessions until we master your talk. So in both of those situations, they both serve the same purpose for when I was dancing on the dance floor, which is make sure that everyone else is having an equal great time than you are. If they're super extroverted, dance even more crazier than they are. And if they're super introverted, go up to them, talk to them a bit, and try and get them to dance a bit. Awesome. Number 3. This one's obvious, but I feel it's worth emphasizing anyways. And it's be fearless on and off the dance floor. Let me tell you something, everyone. If you're able to get on the dance floor and dance like crazy, as if you didn't care what anyone else thought of you, what anyone else thinks of you, or however people judge you, then when you go back into presentation mode, or really anything else outside of that dance floor, you'll be a lot more comfortable with the way that you present yourself and how confident you are as well. Because if you tell yourself, hey, I was able to dance my face off like crazy, I'm sure I can give a little presentation that I'm already a subject matter expert on or that I know quite a bit about. In that regard, notice how in this entire video, when I talk about, my love for dance, and I'm not afraid to tell you what I dance about, how long I dance for, and how crazy I am, I'm entirely confident throughout because I'm very comfortable in my own skin. So when I apply these lessons that I learned from dance outside of the presentation room, I'm perfectly fine in presentations because I already go to such an extreme on the dance floor anyways. So my point is simple. If you don't like dancing, similar to my video on karaoke I'd made in a couple weeks ago, if you're able to force yourself to do things that make you uncomfortable, you're going to be a lot more able to, and you're going to be a lot more open to the idea of being a better presenter. Because your horizon, your perspective of what you actually thought you could do is going to start widening slowly, slowly, and slowly until you become a world-class public speaker. As always, if you enjoyed this week's episode of MasterTalk, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. And if there's anything I'll leave you off with, it's this. If you know one person who loves the dance floor, or even better, hates the dance floor, be sure to send them this video so that they'll understand the correlation between dancing their face off and mastering their talk. Take care, everyone. I hope you're having a fantastic week and see you next week. Bye-bye now.